Hello YouTube. Thank you for joining me again on Run Level 0. You know, every now and then something pops up in the Linux community that takes you by surprise, something that is decidedly non-typical. And the other day, let's see, on the 10th of November 2013, Centrych Linux hit the DistroWatch database here. And I thought we'd take a look at it. I was intrigued by its concept. Once distro, you're going to see that Centrych, they take the standpoint that the best results are often found between two extreme points of view. So with that in mind, Centrych has aimed to become a middle ground between XFCE and KDE desktops and incorporates components from both environments. Now, you can run Qt on a GTK desktop, but usually what winds up happening is you get libraries running from both Qt and GTK, and it tends to bog down the system. KDE tends to be a very resource-hungry system, and as such is not really appropriate for older or even middle ground hardware. It's a beautiful desktop. I love KDE, but it does tend to be resource hungry. Whereas on the other extreme, you have XFCE, which very lightweight, responsive, fast, but it tends to lack a lot of the visual appeal that people that like KDE tend to prefer. So Centrych, they say here, while the combination of GNOME and KDE is decidedly non-minimalist, Centrych is not a memory-hungry beast. The initial memory footprint of Centrych is less than halfway between that of Xubuntu and Kubuntu. This is largely because Centrych prohibits many KDE services from running. So we're going to take a peek at that today. On booting into Centrych, I have it running here. I have it installed in VirtualBox with 2 gigabytes of memory allocated to it. When you boot in, nice visually appealing splash screen. Looks like they're using GDM here. It might be light DM. But you get 2 sessions. You get the Centrych session, which is default, and Xcentric session. The Centrych session is based on the KDE Oxygen theme, and the Xcentric is going to be based on Graybird, which is more your default XFCE session. So we're going to take a peek at both of those. Starting with the Centrych, logging in, getting the system up and running. It's not the quickest to load, but it's not too bad. Alright, so we're presented with a desktop here that looks very much like what you would expect in KDE. There's actually elements of both you can see here. The icon theme, the scheme. We hit on the file manager. From the taskbar, it loads Dolphin, KDE's default file manager. And you can see that it is definitely a KDE type session. You have the glow from Oxygen theme around the borders of the windows. One thing I was playing with is not a full implementation of KDE. For example, I added the terminal. One of the Dolphin's features that I like the most is that it has an integrated terminal, but when you click on the terminal, it opens the pane, but there is no terminal. So it's not a 100% implementation of Dolphin here, but many of the tools you will find and do function, and it works very quickly. When you open the home panel from the desktop shortcut, I can get it to open. There we go. You see it is not Dolphin. In fact, it is Thunar, which is the default web browser for XFCE. So it looks like we have 2 different systems running side by side here. On the desktop, you also have a trash can icon. You have one panel across the bottom, with your session manager in the lower right. Of course, the obligatory clock/calendar. Let's see, we also have a power monitor, network monitor, and volume control. There is a pager. You get 2 default virtual desktops. And it looks like we have a shortcut to a terminal with a menu for other system tools, Kate, Calc. Looks like we have a lot of KDE applications here. Root shell shortcut. There is LibreOffice Writer with a menu for the rest of the LibreOffice suite. Nice. Let's see, Clementine. This should be the rest of the multimedia here. Yep, there we go. And we have the web browser with the rest of our web applications. So that's a pretty nice little integration there. Of course, we just saw the file manager and something to minimize all windows, show desktop. And the menu, this is, even though it has KDE applications running under this profile, this is still decidedly an XFCE desktop. So we have the XFCE standard menu. I don't know, I think I would have liked to have seen Whisker here, but this is okay. It's laid out fairly user-friendly, easy to find the things you're looking for. We have the XFCE settings here with the settings manager, pretty standard. Under secondary settings menu, here we go, we have a shortcut to KDE system settings, so you can control the Qt components of your system. So 2 separate settings managers. That might get a little confusing depending on what you're trying to change under which profile. Under accessories, we have an archive manager, clipboard manager, KCalc. There's a password safe installed. Under graphics, you get the GIMP, GwenView, simple image viewer. Okay, Comoso for your webcam, K-Photo Album, Ocular, Screenshot Utility, and Simple Scan. For internet, Firefox is the web browser. We got Copete there for instant messaging, KRDC, Quassel, IRC, and Thunderbird. For multimedia, you get Audix, Clementine, K3B, Kid3, Volume Control Manager, a simple screen recorder. That's an interesting utility. Does what it does pretty well. It's for screencasting. And VLC is the media player. For Office, of course, you have the LibreOffice suite. Under System, nothing stands out there. Let's see where we're running on the system monitor. So it looks like we're sitting on the Qt profile at 378 meg. That's really not bad, not for having all these Qt and GTK applications running side by side. So looks like they weren't just bragging. 374 meg, that's not bad at all. Under utilities, let's see, BleachBit is installed. We have Dolphin, GNOME Terminal, Kate. Let's see, there's a shortcut to the root shell. We have Thunar, of course, XFCE Terminal, and Zim Desktop Wiki. And there's lots of help files. There was an interesting help for Centrych where the creator of Centrych has put together a really nice help file here that does have shortcuts where you can jump specifically to the area that you want to configure. So I really like seeing a lot of good documentation for distros. That's something that's too often lacking, and I like to see it here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Says here, Centrych is based on a centrist philosophy that better solutions exist between extreme points of view. So that's their philosophy and what they're aiming for, and I think they've made it. Let's log out and take a look at the other profile right quick. So we'll log out, choose the eccentric session. So this one should be themed more as a standard Xubuntu theme or XFCE type theme. Yep, sure enough. We have a hidden panel on the bottom with quick launchers to show desktop, web browser, mail reader, terminal, settings manager. Looks like we have a search utility, the Ubuntu Software Center. Looks like there we go, LibreOffice Writer, Clementine, GIMP, your root folder, and trash can. Same two desktop icons. One takes you to your home directory, yep, still Thunar. One takes you to the trash can. You have one central XFCE panel across the top with your sessions manager, pager, again your calendar and clock, network manager, sound control, and battery monitor. It's like just a notification area. And there again is one shortcut to your menu, and it is the same menu as before. Looks like the same layout, same programs and accessibility. So let's see where this one is running with just the GTK, no QT in the background. How much does it save? And we're running at 316. Alright, so we're looking at about a 60 megabyte difference. Not, it's 316 is really good for XFCE desktop, about what you would expect. So really running the QT you really don't take too much of a hit on your memory for having the QT applications running. It's just a matter of personal preference. And being based on Ubuntu 12.04 long-term support, if you're going to make an Ubuntu-based distro, I would suggest you base your distro on the long-term support model. So they made a good decision there. I'd say that this distro is off to a good start. Can't wait to see what they're going to do with the next LTS in 2014. Maybe they'll update the system and implement some new ideas for it. I'm impressed. I'm intrigued by this distro. It is a good, well-rounded distribution. Has applications installed that are going to meet your everyday need. Really didn't see it was lacking for anything. There was no redundancy. They had one well-chosen application to fill every need. The only thing that I would like to see is maybe on the QT side, maybe an integrated control panel. But other than that, I think they've done a really good job. It's interesting. I've never really seen a distro that handled QT alongside GTK as well as Centrych has. Usually it winds up bloating and having all the QT libraries loaded alongside GTK, and it winds up eating all your memory. So bravo, I really like it. I would suggest you download it, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Thank you for joining me again on Run Level 0 for our look at Centrych. Please subscribe, rate, and comment. If there's any distros you would like me to review, please drop them in the comments below. I'll be happy to take a peek at them. Thank you for joining me. I hope to be with you soon for another video.